Hey everybody, it's your favorite Canuck from Canuckistanreacts, all the way up here in Canuckistan. And I'm back for another week. I got another video for you here. Actually, I've got 3 videos that I'm going to be reacting to. 2 of them are very short and the other one's got some length to it. So, without further ado, I believe I shall do. This one is called A Touch of Kindness, When the King's Guard Met a Special Little Girl. So I'm assuming that this young lady here in front of the guard is, well, beside the guard, is somehow a special needs girl. So let's see what happens. Looks like she might be deaf. I don't know. I don't want to make a judgment on a person's disability. Yeah. The guard's not really going out of his way, but he is being quite nice to her. Okay, she's not deaf, because the woman off camera is saying things to her and she's listening. Interesting. Okay, so this video, you can see the car coming into the shot here. This is a Kentucky Customs video, which is Scott from Kentucky Ballistics has this channel as well, Kentucky Customs, and Kentucky Customs is where he generally customizes cars and quads and off-road vehicles and motorcycles and whatever seems to strike his fancy. So this one is the Ballistic Bandit 4x4 Trans Am. That ought to be interesting. I wonder why he went with the gold. Maybe that's what the car originally was. But of course, you know, the Bandit was black. Nice rims. Very reminiscent of the originals.
It is done. It is absolutely 110% done. This started 3 years ago. I wanted the classic look of a 78 Trans Am, but I also wanted a monster truck. But I didn't want to just do this thing up where you chop a frame and throw a body on top of it. I wanted it to be high quality, real nice. So we started with a 1978 Y88 Trans Am, a complete survivor.
Nice.
And then we did this to it. So underneath this thing
that was
is a
nice
custom,
to begin with.
one-of-a-kind roadster shop chassis that was
Just
made
put a thumb
specifically to fit a 78 F-body Trans Am on top of it without any modifications. This chassis was born to have a TA on top of it. This ain't Uncle Bob's chop shop rig. When I go over some bumps, it's not just gonna fall apart and bolts are gonna fall out everywhere, which I mean, now I say that, now it's gonna fall apart.
And it doesn't float.
Yeah, well, actually, it doesn't float, but all of my breathers and everything for everything under the car are actually up under the hood. So technically, I could get this thing in water up to about here if I wanted to, but probably not going to do that because I'm ashamed to admit how much I've spent on this thing. It's probably going to be a pavement princess for a little while.
Definitely.
This ain't like the Monster Malibu where I'm just going to go run it through a pond. Honestly, once you look at the interior, you can really see
Yeah, no
why
kidding.
I would feel bad getting this thing super
I
dirty.
would not do it.
Every inch of interior has been replaced with new
If I
material.
owned that,
All
it would
the carpet.
definitely be a
The
pavement
seats are
princess.
brand new Camaro seats that have been reupholstered to look like Trans Am
I used to
seats.
have a
You've got a leather-wrapped roll cage, for goodness sake.
I used to have a Jeep Grand Wagoneer, 1989, I believe it was. It was a Jeep Grand Wagoneer. If you've never seen the Grand Wagoneer, look it up. It's an amazing truck. It's not your typical Jeep, but it was a Willys concept years before, and it, eventually evolved into the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. And the only reason I paused to say this is because this whole interior reminds me of my Jeep's interior. It was just immaculate, all leather, power everything worked. And the only problem with that Jeep was the body was shot. It was rusting in certain places where there wasn't really any way to fix it. And the engine had a couple of worn lobes on the cam. So it was running like a bag of shit, and it would have required a full rebuild. So I wound up getting rid of that truck, mostly because of the body. It wasn't so much the engine that bothered me. I could obviously get that rebuilt. It was just a Ford 360. But the body was what bothered me. Obviously, I wasn't going to drive around a rust bucket, and there wasn't anything I could do to repair that body because nobody ever made aftermarket parts for those Jeeps. So anyway, back to Scott's Trans Am.
It is absolutely gorgeous inside. The chassis actually has a lot of little Easter eggs when you walk around the car that you can see. Back here behind this tire, you have a thumb in the chassis.
The
then
thumb.
At the front of the car, there on the chassis, it says, just put a thumb in it. When it tire, you have a thumb.
See that? I don't know if you can see it because I've got this window so much smaller than the window I'm in, but yeah, it's a thumb sitting there. For those of you who don't know the story, about a year ago, 2 years ago now, I think, Scott's Serbu 50 caliber exploded on him while he was firing it from the shoulder, and it lacerated his jugular and broke some bones in his face and stuff like that. And with the amount of blood that was coming out of him, his dad basically told him to stick a thumb in it while driving him to the hospital. So that's what the thumb is all about.
In the chassis. Then at the front of the car, underneath there on the chassis, it says, just put a thumb in it. When it comes to under the hood, there's some little Easter eggs too, like some 50 cal shells that are holding all of my cables together and things like that. But when it comes down to it, this is basically a brand new car. The only thing that is original on it is the body. And this is all original paint, original decals, everything.
Wow.
From when this thing was made in 1978.
Nice.
As for our motor, we have a Texas Speed 427 7-liter, a 4L85 transmission with an Atlas 2 transfer case, and we have 6-piston front and rear bare brakes. Something really cool about the Texas Speed LS motor is typically when someone LS swaps a Trans Am or something like that, you lose the function of your shaker. This is normally where the air for the motor gets sucked in, but most people just bolt this to the hood and they go away with it, and then they just use a regular breather. But not the old ballistic Bandit. Trans Am Depot, their signature move when they replace one of these motors with an LS is they're gonna make sure that the shaker functions.
Nice.
So what they've done is they put extended bolts here where the intake is, and that's what lifts this plate up here that holds this air cleaner. Then the air cleaner is capped off where it normally would suck air. So they've got a hole in your shaker up here, and that's where the air goes, and then through this pipe, and then through your intake, and that's how they've done it.
So now when it comes to the sound of this thing, I'm really excited to let you hear it. It has a custom 3-inch exhaust all the way through it, dual exhaust, and we have electric cutouts for when you really want to get rowdy.
Ooh.
Which, if you're driving this, that's pretty much all the time.
That would be
Also, the
illegal in
Ballistic
Ontario.
Bandit is 4x4, but not just regular 4x4. I have 2 stick shifts in there for high and low. I could go high 4-wheel drive across the whole thing, or I could do high in the front, low in the back, or high in the back and low in the front. I don't know. I'm having
That's
a hard
interesting.
time remembering
My
everything
Jeep.
that's been done to this car. It's a lot.
It is.
So,
My Jeep just had a switch on the dashboard. It was just down a little bit from the instrument panel, and you just flipped it from 2 high to 4 high. And then down on the floor, there was a bar, a handle that you could press the button and pull the handle up and lock it into 4 low. But that was, 4 high or 4 low all the way around, not the way he can switch it back and forth, front or back, or both front, both all the way, or whatever. That's kind of cool.
It's definitely set up for off-roading and some jumping too.
yeah, I mean, this is basically a Baja truck that is a Trans Am. These coils, I have so much play in these coils, and right now they're set about halfway. We could lift this thing even higher, but right now it's at the perfect setting where I've got some cushion and I can turn my wheels without having any rub. So your wheels on a car are very important.
Go round and round.
It really sets it off. Well, I wanted something that was like a truck wheel, but also similar to an original Trans Am wheel. Well, these are American Force Bandits. They actually look like a honeycomb wheel, but it's a truck wheel. But they came all chrome, and I thought, well, it'd be really cool if we could get all of this painted gold like the original wheel.
Yeah.
And then keep that chrome lip, because normally on a Trans Am wheel it is gold and you've got a thin lip.
That's right.
Now we've got gold honeycomb with a big extended lip, and these are 20-inch wheels, and we have 37-inch tires that are 13.5 inches wide.
And for the 4-wheel drive, you also have to manually lock your hubs up here up front.
And they painted those gold also.
Yeah, it looks good. Man, they did a great job. I'm telling you. I mean, it's so
That was one
detailed.
thing I
You
liked
just
about the
keep
Jeep. I
finding
didn't have to
stuff
get out
when
and
you
lock
look
my
at it,
hubs.
it just comes out at you. It's like,
Some
That's
guys
a lot
prefer to be
take-
able to
a lot
lock
to
their
take
hubs.
in.
I
I
prefer
this
not
was
to.
literally delivered just a few days ago. Trans Am Depot delivered it. That's where this whole thing started, was with Trans Am Depot in Tallahassee, Florida. They are the ones who have put this thing together and slaved over it and listened to me complaining over the last 3 years, just like, hey, where's my car? And they finally got it done. Honestly, it's hard to believe that it's even here. This seems like a dream, or they're about to pull the plug on the simulation. I know what y'all want to hear, though. I gotta start it.
That's nice.
This is the fun switch.
That's cool. That would be totally illegal in Ontario. Well, I think it is. As far as I know, it's illegal to run an exhaust without baffles in Ontario.
sounds really, really good. And it's very, very loud, but surprisingly, when you're on the inside of the car, I forget exactly what they did, but they put some sort of liner underneath it to where it's not so loud on the inside.
Oh, okay.
It's actually quite comfortable in there. You have a vintage air system, so you have AC and heat. Looks like there's an 8-track player in there, but it's actually a retro sound stereo that's Bluetooth and radio.
Nice.
With an all-new stereo system in there. I mean,
so it looks like 8-track, but you
it,
can
it's
actually
been
play
done
off
to
your
this
phone.
Car, and I just, again, I cannot believe that it's done. I am so excited to have it here, and I'm honestly kind of afraid to even drive at this point. It's taking so long to get it that it's like,
Yeah.
I just want to stare at it and not accidentally break it because I'm kind of prone to that.
Yeah, it's beautiful on the inside. They made it comfy like a brand new car in there.
Yeah. I was going for, you know, on the outside, you've got this big, crazy looking modified vehicle.
Yeah.
But when you're on the inside of the car, you still got that classic Trans Am feel.
Oh, yeah.
And you got T-tops for really hot days like today. Well, I mean, that's basically it. I'm sure I forgot a few things here and there, but now I need to go drive it. The only problem with this car is getting in it. There was nowhere to mount like a handle anywhere in here. So you just kind of gotta throw one leg up there.
Bring a step stool with you.
Grab a hold of this, and then you just kind of jump.
Kind of like a lot of our van drivers do at work. A lot of our van drivers at work, they have a small little plastic step stool about that high, just to help elderly people that have difficulty getting in and out of minivans. That's a nice car. I don't know that I'd want it jacked up and riding on 37s like that. I think I'd prefer just a classic Trans Am on its standard 14 or 15 inch wheels. And I wouldn't want to LS swap it either. I'd want to find one with a 6.6 liter. I wouldn't mind finding a DeLorean and then dropping a Chevy 350 in the back of her. That would be cool. I don't know what DeLorean Motor Company is putting in the new DeLoreans that they're making. It'd be interesting to find out.
Let us know what you think about the Ballistic Bandit and what you'd like to see us do with it next in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to see more awesome automotive content, hit that subscribe button. See you next time.
Okay, so that's Scott. Kentucky Customs. Go on over to that channel and give him some lovin'. No. Oh, you saw what happened, right? So,
and if you've been involved with a woman long enough,
we're going to finish off this video with a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes of, 3 minutes, yeah, of Bill Engvall stand-up comedy. You may know him from the Blue Collar Comedy Group, where he used to tour with Jeff Foxworthy, Ron White, and Larry the Cable Guy.
you know that periodically,
What did he say? There we go.
and if you've been involved with a woman long enough, you know that periodically, we have to have what they like to call the come to Jesus meeting. And this is where they've had it, and they want to talk. We had one 2 nights ago. We were sitting at the dinner table, me and the kids and my wife. We said grace, our forks were up. And my wife goes, all right. I was like, oh, hell. All right, kids, put your forks down. Mama's fixing to lose her mind. I said, what is it? And she goes, I am not the only person in this house that knows how to load a dishwasher.
That's a little out of the blue.
And I innocently said, well, apparently you are. Now wait, because she had kind of the same reaction. She said, what do you mean by that? And I said, baby, we put our stuff in the dishwasher. And then you come in behind us and rearrange it. See, nobody told me that there had to be a pattern to the dishwasher. You know, guys, I'm going to inform you right now. It cannot go plate, bowl, saucer bowl, plate.
See, this is funny because around here, I was the one that fought to try and get the dishwasher loaded properly. When I was still with my ex, she would load the dishwasher a certain way, and it's not the way it's supposed to go, because you look at the wire frame in the dishwasher trays, and you can see the ones that are spaced apart like this are for plates all the way along. And then you've got others on the side that are spaced apart like that, and those are for bowls. And why people can't get that through their heads, I've never known. And then your glassware and your cups all go on the second shelf, on the top shelf. I don't get why that's so difficult.
Saucer. All right, that just don't work. It has to be a plate and all his buddies in a row.
Yeah.
Then you have to have the Brotherhood of Bowls all together.
Yep.
And apparently,
that's the way it's designed.
Food will just stick to a fork.
Yes.
In 1,000-degree water.
Yes.
If there's a
especially
spoon
if it's something sticky like cheese.
Laundry room, not even allowed in there
That's why you
anymore.
pre-rinse.
Apparently some of you aren't either. Because I looked at the dial on the washing machine, and it said cold, warm, hot. Warm is right in the middle. That's where everything gets cleaned. No. No, no, no. Bill, the whites go in the hot water, and the colors go in the cold water. And then I found out that there's a whole nother group. It's called delicate things. And there's a whole cycle just for that. See, you can't, fellas, you can't just put a pair of jeans in with a pair of panties, because it just slaps them around the whole cycle. And their feelings get hurt. They're delicate.
That's true, too. So, well, that was interesting enough. I guess that was enough to fill the time. And I think those were all pretty good movies. Interesting what YouTube thinks I want to watch next, though, isn't it? I don't get it. Well, anyway, I guess that's about it for now. So I shall wrap this video up with y'all and get it up to YouTube, and God's willing, Daffy Duck willing, we'll see y'all next week. Ciao for now.